democratization of the African continent cannot be achieved by a weak opposition fronts. And allow me to say that fake campaigners of Pan-Africanism like Julius Malema and PLO Lumumba should shut up about Raila Odinga.
Comrades, we want to make a call in Kenya, especially to Comrade Raila Odinga. Stop doing what you are doing. Do not disrupt Kenya. We need peace in Kenya. The President, William Ruto, was democratically elected in Kenya. I will not allow you to use the people of Kenya to destabilize the peace of Kenya. We say to President Mnangagwa, stop disrupting the peace of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is going to election. Allow the Zimbabweans to make their choice in a democratic manner without any form of intimidation. Comrades, we want peace in Ethiopia. We want peace in the DRC. Comrades, we want to make sure that BRICS is strengthened, and BRICS is an alternative to Europe and America. We are with President Putin, and we want to say to President Putin, it is not us South Africans who refused you from coming into the country. It is Ramaphosa, the coward Ramaphosa, who could not guarantee that we will not arrest Putin. We are Putin, and Putin is us, and we will never support imperialism against President Putin.
Now, that was the latest speech from Julius Malema while speaking during a public lecture of the EFL, and they were talking about the progress of democracy in Africa. I'm one person that has never fancied the politics of Malema, Julius Malema, because on one side, he seems to be pursuing the independence and the interest of Africa as a continent, but his country and himself supports Russia's invasion in Africa, penetration in Africa. The new phase of colonization in Africa is the Russian invasion here, penetration in the globe. And so I've always not taken, and I want to draw a very good parallel between Malema and even Raila Odinga. While they have all been serving in the opposition fronts for long, but the young millennials that are emerging have always been used or have always been at the disposal of the foreign powers. And so, if he is talking about the protest that we've had as a country, even South Africa in the first phase on 20th March organized a protest the same day there was a protest in Kenya, and the same day there was a protest in Tunisia. And Kenyans' problems are identical to us. We are not here for the first time. It is not the first time that a protest is being held. And it is a tool of political aggression. When you listen to the millennials making these speeches, you may even want to wonder that they're the new safe havens for the continent. I listened to the whole speech, and while it was touching on Pan-Africanism, I want to believe that there is that which should be the power of the sovereign cannot be suppressed in the altar of protecting one person. If Malema has a personal relationship with William Ruto, then that doesn't give him an entitlement to perfect or to prescribe our sovereign power. As a country, we voted for 2010 constitution. It was all in the interest of the power going to the sovereign. And I want to explain, I want to do a very clear explainer on that Malema's statement and breaking it in these 4 aspects. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. Thank you very much for those who are supporting us from every part of the country. And of course, I still take a lot of appreciation for, I have just gotten another good news that I think some other 2 fellows from members of this channel heed to my call, and they have also told me that they have also supported, or rather released, they also released 2 people from the jail. So under the bold, myself, I managed 3. Kidaruma, Daktari, I think also, Magrin also managed 5, that is 7. Then the gentleman has mentioned 2, so that is 9. Good. As the bold, I'm glad that we are also doing something. And that's normally the difference. Ramaphosa, as opposition in South Africa, is more effective and beneficial to the sovereign of South Africa by oversighting Ramaphosa. And his statement, or rather his position on Raila Odinga, is ill-informed because he knows very well that Raila is a personal friend to Ramaphosa, the South African president, and he is not meeting eye to eye with Ramaphosa. So it is very clear that his position, or rather his attacks on Raila Odinga, is just because Raila is a friend to a person who he considers his enemy. So maybe it is true that William Ruto was elected. Yes, it is true that William Ruto was announced as our president. But if he truly serves in opposition, and opposition role is to oversight government, then even if he feels like he's an agent and he has a personal relationship to support William Ruto, then in the spirit of supporting the sovereign, the best he can do is to support our opposition. And it's not about Raila. Raila is leader of ODM party, but the other Azimio la Umoja. So if he's in the spirit of opposition to oversight the government of the day, then clearly he's not supposed to be bashing Raila. Now, those who pose as moving or rather pursuing democratization of Africa must accept that opposition plays an integral role in achieving democracy in the continent. Opposition plays an integral role. And this one I've always seen PLO Lumumba. His speeches is against, on the other end, pushing democracy. On the other side, opposition is on their way, is bashing opposition. You know, let's be very truthful here. Government has 3 arms: judiciary, executive, and legislature. Opposition is not an arm of the government. And opposition, by default, many often do not have majority or do not enjoy the majority. Even if they have the majority, but they tend not, the architect of our constitution, those in the minority side do not enjoy the majoritarian rule. And so, even if Raila is supposed to push the agenda in the National Assembly, and that agenda is going to be subjected to the popular vote in the floor of a house, and William Ruto has the majority in the floor of house, is that agenda going to succeed? No. That is why the opposition by default goes to the sovereign. And even the framers of the 2010 constitution envisioned that it is allowed in our constitution. It is very dishonest for fellows like Malema to have some bashing statements and very hard-hitting statements on Raila Odinga, while they fail to comment on coup plotters in West Africa. You know, what's been happening in Mali, Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso, and now even Sudan. So what we have in a country, in our country, Kenya, is not a disturbance on William Ruto. No. The issue here is not William Ruto. The issue here is policies advanced by William Ruto that are increasing, or rather that are affecting the cost of living, and it has affected the population. So this issue needs to be addressed well. For those who are believing that William Ruto is being disturbed, and so let me ask, has anyone gone to State House? No. You see, we must call a spade a spade. And I think for Malema, this is beyond your paycheck. This is beyond your paycheck. Lastly, Raila Odinga has always pulled the statement. And this has been touted as part of his weakest point. But he's always had, even as we speak, there is a talks going on, a dialogue going on. And this goes against the demand or the need of some of his supporters. So I do believe South Africa and Kenya, we're in different terrain, different political dispensation, and we cannot compare. So if we respect our boundaries, I think on this one, I've not heard of any other leader here referring to Malema or what's happening in South Africa. And if Malema wants to support William Ruto, let him support William Ruto without insulting or rather calling other people's names.